Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Benefits Mom podcast. I am your host, Tara Nickel, and if you're looking to gain back your mom sanity, you are in the right place. We cover everything motherhood: kids, relationships, school, work, even that dreaded C word, chores. We cover it all. My goal is to help you take back control of your life and find that happy place as a mom. Because when it benefits mom, it benefits everyone. Enjoy this episode. We have another awesome working mom on the podcast today, Allie Greenberg. She is a financial strategist, and her clientele is basically busy families. So all you working moms out there who can get overwhelmed with thinking about financial planning and budgeting, she is your girl. She shares some amazing, great tips to help you create that positive relationship with money, which is so important today because we're all stressed out with COVID and figuring out how we're going to pay our bills and stay working. And she shares some great advice to help you navigate these unusual times and really have that positive money mindset. I do want to say that if you are a mom listening in and you do feel overwhelmed during COVID, I encourage you to head over to Facebook and join our new Benefits Mom community group. It is a private group, so anything you share in the group will stay there. So if you are struggling with something or you just want to vent and have a supportive ear, definitely go over and join the group and feel free to vent what is going on in your life. I will be going live in that group to answer questions or just let everybody air out any, dirty laundry, so to say. And I hope you head over there and see all of the great community that we are building there. If you are a mom listening in and you are still working from home, we are hosting another webinar on Thursday talking about the top 5 questions that I'm getting from clients on how to be better working from home. So we're going to answer all of those questions plus any other ones that you have. So make sure you head over to our website at taranickel.net and sign up for the webinar. All right, let's get into today's interview with Allie Greenberg. All right, Allie Greenberg, welcome to the Benefits Mom podcast.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you, especially since you're from my home area on the East Coast in New York. I'm always happy to talk to fellow people from that area.
Absolutely, yeah. I live in central New Jersey right now, do a lot of work in New York and New Jersey, so we've been stuck in our homes for a while, so it's always nice to socialize, even if it's over the phone.
Exactly. It's definitely a unusual time now, and when it comes to, finances, I think a lot of people, especially moms, are kind of in that, scarcity mindset where, I have to save, I have to hold on to my money, I don't know what's going to happen. So how do you help your clients and, help the moms tuning in to kind of create the right mindset to have, even though we're, in these very unusual times with COVID?
Absolutely, and it's such an important question right now. We're all juggling so much as moms, trying to figure out how to entertain our kids all day. Is this okay for their social well-being? Are our spouses or friends, are they okay? Are we going to get sick? And it's like money is the last thing on your mind. You still have to pay your bills. You still have to make sure that if you're working, that you're working so you can pay your bills and get paid. But it's really an unprecedented thing that we've never experienced in this country, a time where you're unsure about what the market's going to do, about your job. You've never seen unemployment numbers like this, and it's a very stressful and anxiety-ridden time. And I would think that, you would talk to a financial advisor, and they might say to you, do you have 3 to 6 months of money saved? And you might say, yep, I've done my savings, I have that. And now we're looking at a time where, on the East Coast, we've been home for 3 months. Was that really enough? And I think what it comes down to is having that balance of savings. So you're gonna get into this mindset where you're gonna feel a lot of anxiety, and you're gonna feel like I need to save everything, and I can't buy anything, and my life is over, and I can't go shopping, and I can't support, buy my kids fun things. The reality is that you can, right? You shouldn't stop everything and go into hiding. But what this has taught us is the power of savings, and how savings and liquid savings, meaning savings that you can easily access, is so important for the unknown. And, Tara, I think we're going to talk a little bit more about it as we get into it, but what that liquid savings versus savings that are not as liquid, how that's really important.
Yeah, I know having, being able to not just, like what you're saying, save, but being able to access that is really important. It's always fun to talk to a financial advisor, because it's something that I always pride myself on making sure I understand money, but it's something that I definitely like to leave to the experts. So what is it about being a financial advisor that really got you excited and wanting to do it as a career?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting because I had another career. I was in market research, working in a corporate world, and when I had my son, I kind of had to make this decision of, as many women and mothers do I want to keep rising in this career, and kind of takes a lot of time away from my family and that, or do I want to have a career where I can kind of make my own hours and craft my own day and be my own boss? And then once I decided that was the route I wanted to go down, be my own boss, I said, okay, now what do I love? Of course, I said I love money.
Of course.
That obviously wasn't part of it, but I said, what do I love? So I love money, right? And I love helping people. So how can I put those two things together? And how can I take what I've studied and learned on a personal, level of how to manage money and how to make money and how to grow money, and then help others? And that's kind of what led me to this career. And it's just so rewarding to see someone who's struggling, to see someone who has a lot of anxiety, just can't quite get their financial world together, and be able to create that path for them is just the most rewarding thing.
Yes, I can hear your passion in your voice. So you definitely made the right pivot, as I like to say. So for those moms and other women listening in who are still in that corporate world, some of them may be looking at some of the financial benefits that they can get from their employer, whether it's a 401k or if their employer is in a position where they can offer group life, or they're in an ESOP, those kind of situations. What are kind of the things that they should be keeping in mind when they're looking at electing some of these benefits?
Absolutely, and I think group benefits are so important to understand. A lot of people, when you get a new job, or you're in your job and you get these emails from your corporate HR and they're telling you about your benefits, you kind of glaze over, right? It's not sexy stuff. It's boring stuff. You're like, all right, great. I have health insurance. Great. Here's my deductible. Oh, cool. They're giving me short-term, long-term disability. And then you don't really look much more into that. And then you forget about it until the following enrollment period, where you're asked to make your selections again. And, we all go through this every year. Some of the things that I think are most important that you should really be looking out for is under the protection piece of that, and that's what you mentioned, the life insurance, the disability insurance. See what your employer is giving you. Typically, they're giving you a small amount, but if you have it, now you can feel some sort of protection, and that gives you that fundamental basis of your financial plan. Now, granted, when you leave that company, those benefits usually go away. So that's always something to take a look at and see, what are my benefits if I do leave? If I leave this company, do those travel with me, or do they stay with the company? If they stay with the company, it might make sense to then talk to someone to see what other benefits you might want individually on a personal level to kind of close that gap and make sure you're going to be protected regardless. The other thing I always have people look into is what their 401k matches are. And this is really important. I think 401ks and retirement funds in general are very difficult to understand sometimes, and it's a lot of financial gibberish, and really takes a professional to kind of decode that for most people. What I will say is, take advantage of the match. It is literally free money. If you can if your match is 3%, 5%, whatever it is, I would strive to match it. You're going to be getting free money. Then that's not very common from an employer, free money. So that's definitely. Now, when it comes to maxing out your 401k, that's another story. I think that is really based on your circumstances. As we say, you should be saving a certain amount of money. It's usually about 15 to 20% of your gross income. If you're doing that and you have cash and you're doing a great job at your savings at home, then yeah, maybe matching and then maxing out is the right way to go. If not, if you struggle to save at home and you're not, your bills really just stack up and you're paying whatever you make and you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's not as common that you would want to, max out your 401k. So I think it's something, it's custom to everyone. It depends on everyone's situation. But I would say your 401k and then the life insurance and disability insurance, in addition to obviously your health plans, are really the most important things to make sure you understand about your employee benefits.
Yeah, I like when you said liquid money, because I think a lot of people, when they look at all the different savings vehicles out there, they think like they have to put the max in, or else they're not going to be able to retire, or they're not going to be able to do certain things in this time frame in the future. So for you, why is it so important to have that balance, but make sure that you are focusing on the liquid side and not, a time period in the future?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think, a couple months ago, I wouldn't have had as good of an example as I do now.
Right.
For what has happened over the last few months. It is pretty uncommon to see the market do what it has done. And so I'll give you an example. So if you had, we'll use $100 as an example, $100 in your savings account in the beginning of the year, and you had $100 in your 401k account, you can imagine what that $100 did in your 401k, because it's based on the market, versus what it did in your savings account. It didn't move, right? It didn't move from your savings account. You still had $100 at the end of the day. Your 401k, it was less than $100.
Right.
If you needed that money, if you needed that $100 to pay a bill because you lost your job, or you needed that $100 because your kid had to go to the emergency room because they, bumped their head and now they need stitches, you wouldn't want to take that $100 out of your 401k. You would be penalized, you would have to pay taxes on it, and you lost a lot of that money, a lot of that $100 in the market, so now it's really only $80 or $75. But if you needed that $100 out of your savings account, that's still $100, and you can take that out without penalty. So that's a very, on a small scale, a very good example of why liquid money is so much more powerful depending on your stage of life. And I think for your audience, Tara, moms, young families, professionals, that stage of life, liquid funds is really, really important.
Yes, I would agree. I always want to focus more on things like you're saying are available. They're going to be there regardless of what happens with the market. For the moms who are listening, or professionals who really don't have a great relationship with money, maybe they've tried a budget in the past but have not really stuck to it. What are kind of like some baby steps that you kind of guide clients through to start developing that really good and healthy relationship with money?
Yeah, absolutely. And I get this question a lot as well, or I hear a lot of people's hesitation to meeting with me sometimes. And they say they're just a little embarrassed, or they don't have that confidence that they understand their finances. And the first thing I say is, that's fine, because you're not supposed to, right? You didn't study this. You didn't go to school for this.
Right.
This is just a responsibility that you have. So how do we get better at that? And I think the first way, and probably the easiest way, is really just sitting down and writing everything out. You take an hour, either by yourself or with your spouse or your partner, pour a glass of wine at night, sit down, quiet, kids are sleeping, sit at the kitchen table, and you look at your credit card statements and you look at your bank records and you think about all the things you spend money on. And you sit down with your notebook and your pen, no distractions, and you write down everything. And what you'll start to see is, okay, maybe I don't spend as much money as I think, or maybe I spend too much money on these things. It's crazy. I didn't know I spent $300 on Starbucks this month. And it starts to open up your eyes to what your money is doing. Once you've done that, you're empowered, right? You know what your financial world from what you're spending, what you're making, what that looks like, and then you should feel more confident to go talk to someone, a professional that can really do that analysis for you and give you some great recommendations.
Yeah, I say the same thing to my one-on-one clients is, just even if you're not necessarily comfortable right off the bat talking to someone, at least find an item that you can at least assign a number to. Like the example we use a lot is groceries. Like I'm comfortable spending $200 a week on groceries, and then if you do that for a while, then you've had that small win and you have that confidence, and then you can say, okay, now I want to talk about my retirement, I want to talk about investing, and all those different things. It just takes these little steps to kind of get into the right mindset.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And any good advisor would never just kind of throw you into something, right? You have to get comfortable first. You have to make sure you understand your situation. It's all about organizing before doing.
Yeah. I wanted to touch back just on the protection side of what when we're looking at the protection from a personal side, so the individuals looked at the employer benefits and they're really limited in what they can do if they leave the job. There's not a lot of transfer options. So if we're just looking from a personal standpoint, what's kind of some good benchmarks when thinking about the life insurance and on the disability side?
Absolutely. Great questions. And I love that you brought that up, because protection is really the foundation of any good financial plan. And the reason why that is, and some people might be shocked by that statement, they might say, what? I thought I was supposed to get out of debt, or I thought I was just supposed to save, and then I'd be good. And all those things are also really important. But if you're not protecting your money and your income and your world, then the smallest little thing could really take over and really put a wrench into your plan. And I'll give you an example. When I talk to my clients, I always mention that they should be looking at their auto, home, and umbrella policies. Something that I don't necessarily give too much advice on, but everyone has them, right? Everyone has car insurance if you own a car. Everyone has home insurance if you own a home. And these are really important things that you have to have, but most people don't even know what kind of coverage they have. And God forbid you're in an accident, you could be sued. And if you're sued, they can take away everything. They can take away your home. They can take away your assets and leave you with nothing. And that would really damage your financial plan.
Right.
So that's a simple way to just have someone do an audit on your property and casualty insurance and make sure that you're covered for whatever might happen. And then the same goes for life insurance. Again, not a fun conversation you want to have. And hopefully a conversation you only have to have once, and then you take care of it and it's done. But that conversation usually looks like if something were to happen to the breadwinner of the family, the person who's bringing in the income, who helps feed the family, who helps house the family, something happened to them and their income was no longer there, what would you do? And most people would look at you with kind of those eyes and say, I have no idea. And that's why life insurance is so important. The amount of life insurance is always that next question, well, how much do I need? And that really comes down to your personal situation. What kind of house do you live in? What kind of job do you guys have? What kind of other expenses would you not want to leave someone with if something did happen to you? So making sure that not only you're using and utilizing your group benefit, but also closing that gap and making sure if that job wasn't there anymore, you would still have coverage and that you would still be protected. So I think it's a super important conversation, Tara, and one that we should all be having.
Yeah, it's. I always find it really important too. Is even looking at each open enrollment period, like it could be a new gap or something else could change, or based on other health metrics, maybe you have other options with life insurance. Like, you just never know, so you want to always keep evaluating those for sure.
Yeah, and enrollment time is a great time to meet with advisors. So a lot of times we schedule our meetings around that, and I'll have clients come with their enrollment books, and they'll show me what their options are, and we go through that together.
I love that idea. Definitely, for those of you listening, definitely put, if you know when your open enrollment is in 2020, book a time to talk to a financial advisor. And if you're in Jersey, go talk to Allie, for sure.
Exactly.
Yes. All right, Allie, now we get to go to the fun part. I'm just going to ask you a couple of rapid fire questions. They're just really fun. So the first one I ask everybody is, you have the ability to one day eat whatever you want, the biggest cheat meal you want to eat. What are you going to have on that day?
Oh, ice cream.
Ice cream.
By far. I'd probably have ice cream with some French fries in there.
French fries and ice cream. Oh my gosh, that almost sounds like a pregnancy craving thing, Like, I'm pregnant
as well, but it's really all the time is when that craving hits too.
Yes, that's awesome. Okay, since you're from Jersey, I have to ask you, what is your favorite place to go to in NYC?
Ooh, that's really tough. I would say you cannot beat New York City pizza, and you cannot beat a good New York City bagel.
Oh.
So when you have to. It's whenever people travel to New York, I say you got to get yourself a slice of pizza and a bagel, and they'll never be the same. So that's definitely top on the list. And then I'm a big outdoors person, so I love going to Central Park.
Oh, I do a walk around Central Park when I go visit my family, and I have to tell you, my favorite pizza place is Lombardi's in Little Italy. They have like a coal oven. I love that. And for bagels, I actually have a small bagel store by my parents' house that's been run by this Greek family for years, and they just love it. And I've been doing that since my mother will send bagels to me. It's fantastic.
Oh my God, it's the best. You can't beat it.
It's great. All right, now your best vacation spot.
Aruba, my favorite island in the world, the happiest place in the world. If I could go there and live there and open up a little, like smoothie stand on the beach, I'd be very happy.
I like that. Have you ever gone to one of those resorts that have like little island bar like at the pool? Have you ever done that yet?
Oh yeah.
You've done that?
Oh yeah, that's that.
That's awesome. Okay, last question. What is one piece of advice that you want to leave all of the moms and listeners today?
I would say, all the moms. All right, I'm going to make an analogy. When you're about to give birth to your kids, or maybe it's your first baby, and everyone says to you, don't be a hero, just take the epidural, right? Or don't be a hero. If you're in pain, scream. So I'm relating it to labor a little bit since our audience is moms here. Same with your financial planning. You don't have to be the hero. Go ask for help. You shouldn't have to do it alone. Put that burden and that stress on someone else and let them help you. So that's your analogy for the day: labor to financial planning.
It works. It does make sense. I love it. All right, Allie, thank you so much for coming on today. If anybody has any questions or wants to reach out, we'll have Allie's information in the comments of the podcast. And Allie, thank you so much again, and have a fantastic day.
Thank you, Tara. This was great. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye, everyone.